Hey everybody, Justin here and welcome to the channel. Today we're on day 111 of my $1 million challenge. I hate to say it, but I think the plan is pretty obvious right now. And if you've been paying attention to the news and you see what's going on with Silicon Valley Bank, with First Republic, Signature Bank, I think the plan is pretty much clear. And that plan is that we're slowly moving into a transition to digital currency. In this case, I think it's going to be a central bank digital currency. Slowly but surely, we're going to be seeing bank runs all over the country, if not all over the world. And only a small group of banks are going to be the ones with the liquidity. They're going to be backed up by the FDIC, which basically they're going to be backed up by the government to continue functioning. And most likely the banks that I'm talking about are going to be JP Morgan, Chase, Wells Fargo, maybe Bank of America. And it almost reminds me, when I was a kid, I had Hot Wheels, the Hot Wheels City, where it was the bank. You had one bank, you had one dealership, you had the police station, you had the supermarket, and that's pretty much it. It'll be the bank. And in this case, with time, I think before 2030, most definitely. I'm thinking probably by 2025, 2026, we'll have the bank will be the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve will be connecting everybody digitally and directly via their phones. So I don't know really what the future of the banking firms will be. I think most likely they'll be servicing. They'll be ushering us to the Fed with the central bank digital currency. That's it. It's that simple. Now the problem is that a central bank digital currency most likely will be a smart contract, programmable currency. So it's like having your bills, with a microchip, so that, and a GPS. So every single dollar that you're spending can be tracked, can be monitored. They will be able to see what you're doing, where you're spending your money. And I think hand in hand with that will come also universal income. So again, these are my 2 cents. I think I'm going to play some clips of Robert Kiyosaki, and he was interviewing Andy, and they are explaining it in a very, very clear way. To me, this is nothing new. I honestly thought that this would happen maybe like in 30 years.
To back this, but I want people to think outside the box. So there was a lady who was number 2 in charge at the Federal Reserve, and now she moved over to the president's White House. Her name is Lael Brainerd, and I will give advisor and director of the National Economic Council for the Biden administration. She was number 2 at the Fed, and when President Biden reappointed Fed Chairman Powell, I thought that they were going to appoint Lael Brainerd, and she ended up being appointed vice chair. And the reason I thought that they would not reappoint Powell is because he was a Trump appointee, but they did. They reappointed him, and Lael Brainerd was number 2. Now, Lael Brainerd's whole thesis is removal of the commercial banks and a central bank digital currency. She is a modern monetary theorist. So think about this. Now she's left the Fed and is working in the White House. Think about this for a moment. This act is going to herd everyone out of the thousands of small regional banks that provide customer service in the lobby and a good experience that what banking used to be. Now everyone does it on their iPhone and on their computer. They don't go into the bank as much. There's not as much interpersonal communication and relationships. So those banks are going to go bye-bye because everyone's going to pull their money out of those banks because they're scared. What if you have a mid-sized company with $10 million in the regional bank and you're afraid that if we see more systemic problems, which we will as rates continue to rise, putting more pressure on these horrible bond portfolios, and they start to fail, everyone is going to yank that money out as fast as they can and send it to the big commercial banks. They've told us that FDIC only has 0.03% backing, so that won't work. So they'll print money to bail those banks out. But everyone's going to flood into the commercial banks, and then they are ripe for whatever they have in mind. If they let one of them fail, just one, everyone will panic and embrace the new CBDC currency, which we have been told by the Bank of International Settlements that everyone must have. All countries that are part of that network, the BIS network, has to have an operational CBDC by 2025.
That's what my friend Jim Reckers was talking about. Executive order by Biden 14067 was passed a year ago. So they expect the central bank digital currency, the Fed coin, this year.
I think it's evident now that things are moving a lot faster than we imagined. What? Time to go? You okay there? Fine. Fine. Really? Who's walking who? Who's walking who? You're walking me? Come on, silly. Wait. I swear I feel like a lazy bum today. But sometimes you have to relax so you can recuperate. And this week we're gonna be hitting the gym hard. We're gonna be working out very hard. And I'm going back to carnivore. So I got 2 more days with a free pass to eat whatever I want. And then I'm gonna go back to carnivore. God, look at that. There's deer, Ellie. There they are. Come on, let's get out of here, Ellie. Come on. That's deer. Yeah, I believe it's deer mating season or something because they're all over the place back there. And the last thing I want to do is be in front of them where they're freaking running because they go crazy. Those are crazy deer. Anyhow, back to the economy. I was watching this video and this guy, I can't remember his name, but I agree with him in one aspect of the housing market. I think we're gonna see a very solid crash in 2023 unless something radical happens. Like people like Clayton Morris, they keep talking about this deficit in the construction market and the new housing market. And honestly, I just don't trust those numbers. I don't trust those statistics. Why? Because when you drive around, I see so many empty homes. I see houses that are not selling. That's not even counting houses that are abandoned. One time I went on a drive one Sunday, and between Orlando, for example, Orlando and Tampa, I counted over 50 houses that were abandoned. So there is plenty of inventory. What do you think is going to happen when people start dumping that inventory? What do you think is going to end up happening when there's a crash and no one is there to buy those homes because they cannot afford them? That's not counting, folks, the amount of car repos that I see coming. If you have more and more families losing their vehicles, losing their cars, damaging their credit, how do you think they're going to qualify for a mortgage? So not only are you going to have high interest rates, high prices, but less people, less qualified buyers. I'm sorry, it doesn't add up. I'm going to play the clip now so you can take a look, and please, comment below, let me know what you think.
23 housing crash is going to be bad. Because when I walk around communities like this, which you can see, this is a new home building site. There's no one living here. No cars in the driveways. Hundreds more under construction. There's going to be a deluge and a dump of new inventory onto the U.S. housing market like we have never seen before. It's really through driving around America over the last couple months and seeing this stuff with my own eyes, seeing these houses, these empty houses that are about to be completed, that I realized that this housing crash is just in stage one. 9 months ago, they were selling for $430,000. Now they're selling for $370,000, but they've only sold half of these, and they're gonna have to cut the price by even more.
Do you agree that the market is gonna crash? The real estate market is gonna crash? Or do you agree with Clayton Morris that there's not enough housing for the many millions of millennials that are looking for a house? Again, just because there's millions of millennials looking for a house doesn't mean that there's millions of millennials that are qualified buyers. Anyhow, folks, that's all for today. I'm trying to keep it short. I'm gonna go back to editing more videos, and until tomorrow, take care.